And as you can see, it's not only about providing the desktop, it's about providing the appropriate applications, but also providing the appropriate configuration for each application. So how often does it happen that you finally create a mailbox, and then this user starts up Outlook, and then there's a wizard. Luckily they took out this paperclip. And this wizard will ask you, what is your mail server? What should your signature be like? You do not want to pose those questions to your users. You want to take care of them for the users. So if Jeff, who has just been created, is now launching Outlook, we will take care of the configuration of those applications. So give him the applications, but also configure the applications based on the context so that Jeff can actually work. That is important.
So, mistake there, Bob. We're missing a phone number. Is that something we need to put in?
You will need to put in the next demo.
Okay. The user's going to be allowed to do something.
Fine.
How many of you get nervous when that happens, right? Guy in the back raises his hand. I think he works for a answer.
So, it is about the apps, but even more important because we were talking about personal virtual desktop. Jeff was talking about the consumerization of IT. So more and more people bring their own laptop. And still, as IT, we want to provide this controlled, restricted desktop. But what if I want to allow my users to still use their personal applications inside the remote desktop without impacting the remote desktop? So on my laptop I have Skype installed. If I'm overseas, I talk with my wife, very cheap. I have some kind of nice movies if I'm bored. They are not available inside my remote desktop, which is the one that you see today. But if only I can start at my local start menu, see my personal set of applications, and I hope the sound will be enabled so we will recognize.
So let's just clarify once again what's happening here. Bob's on a local machine here. He's up inside a virtual machine. And that start menu on the right side, the bottom right, is his locally installed apps on this machine. It's called reverse seamless technology. It's coming up from the remote machine up, sorry, from the local machine up into the remote guest experience. It's called PDX.
So another one is this movie. So I have local movies. I'm in the office. I still want to view my local movies. So let's play my local movies.
Local file, local application, running up in the HDD. Full fidelity HD graphics. Plus a great video.
So that is what actually delivers a truly virtual but personal desktop. In this case, running on Vue. That is the power of composing your desktop based on the context and providing the personal touch inside a virtual desktop. So the last technology that we showed is VDX. It's something we call VDX technology, Virtual Desktop Extender. Please come by the booth if you want to know more about this technology. That technology allows you to merge local applications inside remote desktops, provide the personal applications inside your control desktop without impact, but also without end users complaining that you restrict enterprise. Now you can really combine those two worlds and you can deliver what they actually are demanding today.
It's might be worth mentioning this while you're transitioning that we've also got a free trial online. You can experience this yourself. You can actually log into, I think you showed out this in the booth, you've got the link in the back of the deck. You can go up onto a site, install the little client yourself, it's very small, and experience your own applications running up inside of a mobile desktop. Pretty cool demo. You know, when you see your application running, it kind of hits a little bit more. So we encourage you to follow that link in the back of the deck and check it out.
So the next step. Now we have been able to automate the creation of the user. We have been able to provide a personal desktop, which is, by the way, running in a data center, running on VMware Vue 4. The next step will be to provide even more flexibility. You have already talked about IT as a service. You already talked about self-service. So there are a lot of tasks that you can give to your end user. So he doesn't have to call the help desk anymore. Such as changing phone numbers. I don't want to be his administrator to change his phone number. He knows his phone number, he can do it himself. So that is where we have an offering with a lot of white again, a year ago. That's called service orchestration. Service orchestration is about orchestrating IT services. If we look to what service orchestration is all about, this is why we are in IT. We have very smart people in our organization. If we are able to provide them the right IT services, then we will be very productive altogether. If one of these is not correct, it will impact productivity. The most important piece of an IT service, and if I talk about an IT service, it's not about this user account. The user account is not an IT service. It doesn't provide any productivity. An IT service is an up and running user that has all the means in the infrastructure to be able to work. That is what I call an IT service. So, when do I qualify for this particular IT service? Very important step. There are a lot of self-service solutions out there. Luckily, more and more for us to pick from. But the most important piece is, when do my end users qualify for a particular IT service? And once I know when they qualify, then I can predict what they need. If you go to a restaurant, they do the same kind of great job. So if you come into the restaurant, they have already predicted that you would like to have a chair, a table, a plate, and a knife. It would be weird if you go into a restaurant and the first thing that you have to order yourself is a chair, a table, and a plate. So remember that IT services, most of them can be predicted. We say 80%. So based on the qualification, where is somebody in my organization? Or what is his particular role? Where does he work? Those kind of categories, kind of business rules, determine if people qualify or not. But of course, we can also have dependencies and restrictions, kind of relationships. So if I qualify as a sales guy for Salesforce, then I do have a dependency on internet access, otherwise it won't work. So these three are important to know when somebody qualifies for an IT service. Once you know that they qualify, you need to consider how to deliver this service, and most important, how to deprovision this service. My experience, and maybe we share the same experience, is that the longer you work for an organization, the more permissions you have. Because the delivery of permissions is always done very fast. But as soon as you leave the organization, then sometimes it's not returned or deprovisioned. Or if you change roles inside an organization, you will always get the new permissions to do your work. But is there an automated process for deprovision that you don't need anymore? Often this is not in place. And especially if people leave a company. For example, Salesforce again. If I leave a company through the front door, okay, they can trust me. But if I leave a company through the back door, then I have to think about, okay, I have to disable this account. So my IT organization will disable my account in the Active Directory. But what about my Salesforce account on the internet? If it's not part of your IT service delivery process, that one will remain open. So it's important to think of IT services as a set of technical tasks or runs that are needed for the user. And then by defining those, you can also think about the return process. And then if you dequalify, we can automatically deprovision. And if we look to the delivery or return process, we think of actions. Actions is a very small workflow that can contain approvals, for example. So if somebody requests an application that they need approval for, just ask this manager for his approval. So you think about this IT service once. You define how you want to deliver, what kind of approvals are necessary. necessary, what kind of information you need from the business. You configure it once, and then the organization itself can manage itself through self-service or automatic delivery of IT services based on the business rules. And then finally, we have made a separation between I and the T. Sometimes I ask people, and we had a lot of administrators in the room, who is the boss of the technology? And those are the IT department, the IT administrator. But if I ask who is the boss or the owner of the information, then finally they realize that the business is the owner of information. And then the next question is, but by the way, why are you not managing the access to your information? Then it's because it's too complex. So therefore we dedicated that ownership to the IT department too. And if you are allowed to create IT services and deliver them based on business rules, finally the business, the owner of the information, is in control again. But still IT is in control of the technical way of delivering these services. So we have seen the creation of a user account that had these tasks inside it. We have seen how it is encapsulated into a runbook, which is an IT-created runbook. And we were able to call the service desk. They were able to enter my name, or Jeff's name in this case. And then my user was able to work. But what if I have a service portal, and now suddenly the colleagues at Human Resources enter the same information, first name, last name, in a service portal. Over there, this process of delivery will be initiated, and everything is done in the background without the help desk doing anything. So all those recurring tasks, creating users, deprovisioning permissions, all those tasks, if you were able to automate them, if you were able to provide them in a service catalog that is running on business rules, then you can offload your IT department from those day-to-day activities. They can focus on the more important projects, and the organization is in control and can manage those simple tasks without having to call the IT help desk. So, Jeff was complaining about his phone number. I'm one of those administrators. I don't want to change his phone number. He's always complaining, but once I give him his phone number, then he never will thank me. He expects me to do it. So, you do it. You do it.
Okay. All right. So Bob's been talking about providing IT services and a portal experience to users, and those phone calls, and help those mundane tasks get offloaded to the user. So Paul isn't going to sit down here. It's a little low for me here. So
you're high enough.
I'm going to connect into my environment here. It's now connected to that desktop, and then within that, RES Workspace Manager is composing my desktop for me, and I'm now arriving at my desktop. Now, what Bob was talking about was providing me, Jeff, this ability to go and change my own phone number without having to worry about calling somebody, maybe in HR, or filling out some paperwork or a form. So I'm going to show you here the user's portal experience on the desktop that allow me to simply make that request. It's a request that IT has blessed as something that is something we can just request as a user and not worry about them being involved. And we're going to go from there and make the request. So let's just go ahead and take a look at this. I'm going to look in here for my services. I'm going to look for, let's do the word phone. And getting a spell here. Must be that Las Vegas error. Okay, so I did a quick search. It came back with this search criteria that said, hey, you want to change your phone number? Yeah, please. Request that service. And in just a second, the pending actions is going to come back. It's delivering it. You can see the status changing there. And it's going to come back now with, okay, Jeff, that's fine. You've got a phone number change request pending. Well, what's the phone number you want to put in? So provide the information. It now provides the user an ability to do something that the IT guy on the help desk would simply be doing for them over the phone.